This is the commandment that turned naive college students in the 1960s into urban terrorists, and that inspired college professors to become jungle guerrillas in South America. Marxian communists are the second coming of the 12th century Crusaders. Whereas the Crusaders committed their lives to God and to the image of Christ on the cross, the communists have committed their lives to a new secular ideal, to the principle, and to the symbol of man redeemed and restored to the innocence of his true being, to a new Garden of Eden. Marxism, like Christianity and Islam, asks its converts to accept its moral vision as an act of faith. And like most religions, it calls on its adherents to translate the ideal into the real. But Marxism is not only a call to action, it is a call to arms, to revolution, to permanent revolution. It summons men to join a crusade to destroy the evil that is capitalism and to create the good that is communism. In a secular world where God is dead, the Marxist ideal gives the communist revolutionary a reason to live and a reason to die. And we might add, a reason to kill. As Che Guevara once said, quote, "Blind hate against the enemy creates a forceful impulse that cracks the boundaries of natural human limitations, transforming the soldier into an effective, selective, and cold-killing machine. A people without hate cannot triumph against the adversary." Close quote. In conclusion, what then do we say about Marxism? I say this: there is nothing noble or attractive about Marxian socialism. Let me be clear, if I haven't been already. Marxism is, by definition, totalitarian and genocidal by motive, design, practice, and result. The political goal of communism is to annihilate freedom in all realms of life, economic, social, and intellectual. By philosophical design, Marxism in power must always use force to achieve its ends. Any government that expropriates and redistributes private property, any government that seeks to centrally control and regulate an entire economy, any government that violates the natural and civil rights of its citizens on a daily basis, any government that seeks to reconstitute human nature will and must use force as a matter of course. Thus, socialism and force are synonymous in theory and practice. The fact of the matter is that the Marxist moral ideal necessarily leads to censorship, secret police, re-education camps, gulags, and genocide in practice. Its violent and bloody history is evident for all to see. Marxian socialism begins and ends with violence and destruction. Economically, it seeks to destroy private property, the price system, the division of labor, the system of profit and loss, wage labor, competition, and material wealth. Politically, it seeks to destroy the rule of law, constitutionalism, separation of powers, and civil rights as bourgeois principles. Morally, it seeks to destroy individual rights and all bourgeois virtues. Epistemologically, it seeks to destroy the independent thought and free choice of all men. And metaphysically, it seeks to change and ultimately to destroy human nature itself. But surely, decent people see that communism is the most obviously and tragically self-refuting philosophy known to human history. Before it can save humanity, the communist 1%, the true 1%, must use the terror apparatus of the state to force the 99%, the true 99%, to become something they're not and don't want to be. And if that doesn't work, the secular philosophy of brotherly love simply liquidates as much of the 99% as possible. Marxism's moral ideal is evil, absolutely evil. As a philosophical system, Marxism is the wellspring of communist mass murder. Those Marxist regimes responsible for genocide are not aberrations from true Marxism, but are in fact its fulfillment and living embodiment. They best represent what Marxism is and must be. Terror is a necessary instrument of the communist ideal. History demonstrates, and I hope this lecture has proved philosophically, that Marxism is a philosophy of mass murder, which is precisely what it has done wherever it has held power. Let us be clear. Marxism leads to Stalinism, Maoism, to Pol Potism, to Kim Il-sungism, to Castroism, to dictatorship, to the police state, to terror, to show trials, to the gulag, to genocide, and finally to the grave. In other words, the problem with Marxism is Marxism. The perverse irony of communism is, of course, that rather than creating a society defined by brotherly love, it always creates a society of mutually assured resentment and destruction. In any society based on the Marxian ideal, the inevitable result will be that productive abilities shrivel, needs expand, envy follows, and the society collapses over time into a war of all against all. Socialist man lives in a state of constant fear and loathing. He fears the state and he loathes his fellow man. Marxism is the philosophy of malevolence and hate. It is from beginning to end a criminal activity. It begins with theft and it ends with murder. Marxism is, to use Ayn Rand's phrase, the embodiment of the morality of death. It is inimical to the requirements of human life. It is a system that denies man the ability to function as a rational and independent being because it denies him what his nature requires: the freedom to think and act. In conclusion, we are morally obliged to say this about Marxism. First, it is the single worst blight to have ever affected human life over the course of man's entire history. And second, those who advocate it represent the very definition of human evil and must be openly judged and condemned as such. And so, let us not then forget the wise words of Edmund Burke. Quote, "All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing." Close quote. Thank you very much.
www.libertarian-party.ru. Лаборатория Хаперского. Лучшие идеологические антивирусы. Проект Либертарианской партии России.